But I'm voraciously reading nowadays, so I will find it. Thank
Great.
you.
Me too. That's actually one of the things you talk a lot in your current book, Keep Sharp, right?
Yeah. Yep, keep sharp.
I'm not all the way through it yet, but I love it. And
Thank you.
it's actually, I say in every episode, this is one of the reasons I did this podcast. But truly, it's really true. There's so many things that made me want to take on another job because, at this point, I'm like, I want to work less. I don't want to work more. And my kids are getting older, and I really love hanging out with them and being involved. But having different things to do and keeping your mind sharp and trying new things and learning new things. I'm trying to learn how to surf. I'm trying to learn how to speak Italian 30 years later. All of these things. Is that why you do so many things?
It's interesting. When I wrote this book, I felt that I was validating some things for me rather than inspiring them because I didn't really know all of the sort of what was happening in the brain before I, wrote this book. It took me about 3 years to really do this deep dive with these neuroscientists to really understand the changes in your brain as a result of doing all these things. But I think for me, doing multiple things, I just always felt was such a privilege that I got to do it. I think that was more it than anything. I mean, kind of like you were just saying, there is a certain joy to it. I enjoy what I do, but I'm also, I'm the son of immigrants, and my mom was a refugee until she was 12 years old. And then she came and she became the first woman engineer in the automotive industry. And I think it was always this incredible sacrifice they made. And you're thinking, okay, they sacrificed that. So I want to do as much as I can do. Like the more I do, the more I feel like I've really been grateful for the gift they gave me. And so that's part of it. And then afterwards, I write this book and I find that, when you are doing totally different activities, it is firing up all these different parts of your brain. It's making you more resilient against things like dementia. It helps you remember better in the moment, have more joy, and your ability to have better judgment when it comes to what you're going to eat for dinner, how you interact with your kids. I just found that really interesting. So I felt validated in a way that doing more things was good for your brain.
Yeah, and I love the positivity that you approach it with. It's like you see things as these things that I get to do, not these things that I have to do. But these things I have the privilege to do, that brings me joy, the privilege of choices and options, which is the power of positivity, which is another thing I try to talk a lot about because it's a practice of mine. Certainly wasn't born that way and starting my life with a pretty serious trauma of my mother dying. And so it's really something I've had to learn as an adult, the power of positivity. And it's constantly affirmed. When I speak to people like yourself and super smart, successful people who are always so positive, I definitely believe in the power of positivity.
I think it's really, really challenging in your brain to be grateful and have a negative emotion at the same time. It's almost like they counterbalance each other. Like if you are upset about something and then suddenly you fire up gratitude in your brain, it almost always will crowd out the toxic feeling. I'm overly simplifying, but when I've been doing all this research, people say if you just practice an act of gratitude or you are empathetic or something at a time when you are angry, it's very difficult to have both those emotions that are so different in your brain at the same time. So I think being optimistic and being grateful, first of all, it brings me joy. I just feel better when I'm that way. I'm sure you do as well. But also, it's so good at eliminating the other things that are infringing on your brain, that are sort of trying to pull your attention into something that is more toxic.